differences. Now, comparing a Malamute to one of these dogs here is kind of like comparing the difference between, say, a draft horse and a racehorse. Or maybe picture in your mind the difference between a weightlifter and a marathon runner. These dogs here are much more akin to the marathon runner than anything else. In fact, that's what they're bred for. These dogs here are bred for their endurance, for their ability to travel long distances. They were used to haul mail, food, supplies, people, things like that from village to village. Because of the distances these dogs traveled, they actually had to have the body, say, more of a Boston Marathon runner than a big heavy weightlifter. So that's why they're not as big as what you might expect them to be. Now, all the dogs here in this pen, with the exception of our two little border collies over there, they are just pet dogs. All the rest of these dogs here are Alaskan Huskies. Now, the Alaskan Husky is a breed of dog, but it's not a registered or a purebred dog. Therefore, we do kind of have a variety of different looking dogs because, well, frankly, we just don't care what these dogs look like when we breed them. We don't care if they have blue eyes or brown eyes or curly tails or floppy ears. Color makes absolutely no difference. What we're looking for is things like speed, endurance, strength, intelligence, instincts, curiosity, compatibility, things like that. We're looking more for what these dogs can do than for what they look like. Now, the natives here in Alaska have actually had teams of dogs for hundreds of years. As they were migrating for hunting and fishing and trapping, the dogs usually traveled with them, pulling sleds full of supplies in the winter and even carrying packs in the summertime. In their everyday lives, the natives often relied on these dogs as part of their survival. So they rewarded the dogs for their hard work by giving them excellent care and nutrition. We can still see the benefits of those rewards even today. The dogs do live a lot longer, healthier lives. In this pen here, they actually range from the youngest ones in here are about 3 years old. The oldest one's actually the one over there along the fence. That's Brave. He's 14 years old. They can live to be 14 and 16 very commonly and even older sometimes. Now, being here in Alaska, the dogs decide to learn to adapt their environment. It gets down to 50 or 60 below at times in the winter, but in the summer it can get pretty warm, even as high as 80 or 90. To protect their feet from the different abrasions, we can do that by putting on dog booties. Now, say I've had a 20-dog team, that means I'd have to pull out about 80 of these booties right here to put on my team. Now, that might take me just a little while to put them all on, especially if it's 40 below out, so I'll just put on one for you to show you how it works. We'll get Nike here to help us out on this part. Now, Nike, he's actually 13 years old. He has finished several Iditarods with me. He's been retired for the last 4 years, but he's traveled almost 30,000 miles in his career, so he's pretty used to wearing his booties. Now, all I have to do is I just slip that booty right over his foot there. There's a Velcro tab that fastens the hole in place. Now he's all ready for the races. He's wearing this bright red Nike. Oh, you're a good boy. Just try not to get too excited there, though. Now, these dogs, they do rely on us quite a bit for their care and nutrition and guidance the way we train them, but we do rely on them, too, for their instincts and their abilities to travel in the wintertime. There's been several races, including this year's Iditarod, where sometimes you can encounter some pretty severe winter storms. At times, it might be snowing and blowing so hard that I'll have to get off my sled and help my leaders break trails through 3 and 4 foot drifts. But then at other times, because of all the new snow and the high winds and the low visibility, I have no idea where the trail's at. Sometimes it's been such a whiteout that I can't even see the end of my sled, much less the lead dogs that are way out in front of me. So at those times, I just have to rely on my leaders for their instincts, their sense of smell and feel to help keep us on that trail. We have to work together as a team to get to the finish line. It's a trust-to-be-trusted relationship we have with these dogs. We rely on them just as much as they rely on us. Now, I do believe I have a few minutes left for some questions before you move on to your next stop. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask about the dogs? How long? Well, the Iditarod is about 1,100 miles long. Takes 9 to 10 days for the top teams and 14 to 16 days for the back teams, depending on weather and trail conditions. Down there.
How much food do they eat when you race?
Well, these guys actually have a very unique metabolism. They utilize fat like human athletes utilize carbohydrates. So they do get fed very high-fat, high-protein diets. It consists of a meat-based dry commercial food, but also lots of meat. Things like beef, chicken, liver, lamb, sausage, tripe, fish, beaver, horse, turkey skins, all sorts of things. Right now, they're eating 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day. In the wintertime, they eat 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. In a race like the Iditarod, they will eat 10,000 to 12,000 calories a day. So very, very high metabolism. I don't have to carry all of our food and supplies for the whole entire race. There's 18 checkpoints along the trail in the Iditarod. There's 8 checkpoints along the trail in the Yukon Quest. Every marshal figures out what they need at each one of those checkpoints, and they ship it out before the race ever starts. So I only have to carry it from my set of getting from checkpoint to checkpoint. I ship out about 2,000 pounds of supplies, but it's distributed out along the trail. So. Well, we're not allowed any outside assistance. We have to do everything with the dogs ourselves. So it's basically just me and 16 dogs. I have to take care of the dogs myself. That's my most important job, is taking care of the dogs. So say in a 24-hour period, basically for every hour we run, we're going to rest an hour. So often we'll, in a 24-hour period, it varies a little bit, but an average schedule is we'll run 6, rest 6, run 6, rest 6. And in that 6 hours that I'm resting, I'm supposed to be taking care of the dogs. But I'll be lucky if I get an hour of sleep myself. So in a 24-hour period, the dogs might get 12 hours of rest. I'll be lucky if I get 2. And generally, the last couple days of the race, I'm lucky if I get 2 15 or 30-minute naps a day. So for the musher, it's much more about endurance and lack of sleep than anything else, because it's a 10-day race. So all about taking care of the dogs. You don't take good care of your dogs, you won't make it to Nome. And we're not allowed outside assistance, so we have to do everything ourselves. Now, we start out with 16 dogs on our team. We can take them off of our team and send them home. But we cannot add or replace a dog on the team. It is a race of endurance. So say if I start out with 16 dogs and I have a dog that comes up sick or injured or something like that, and I need to send that dog home, they're